In this lesson, we're going to dive into audio, and then I'm going to show you how to build the final executable version of your game. Alright, so congratulations on getting to this point. We are now at a point where we want to add some audio as a background, and we're going to keep this nice and simple. We're going to create a background music player. So this can be done by going to your hierarchy panel, left-clicking on Create, and going to Create Empty. Let's rename this object to Background Music. And then we're going to reset its position to 0, 0, 0, so that way it's easy to find. And then we're going to add an audio source component to this. So add component, audio, audio source. So on this audio source, we need to add an audio clip. You can do this by left-clicking on the little button to the right, and you'll see that it brings up any audio that we'll have in our assets. Now I'm going to provide this music loop just for the video itself, however it will not be in your project files. I will give you a text file that you can use to download this, but we cannot redistribute that. So double-click on this, and that will add that music loop audio clip to this object. And we want it to play on awake, so that way whenever we hit play, it's going to play that music, and we also want it to loop. You might want to adjust the volume to about 0.7, so that way it's not blowing out anyone's ears or anything like that. You can make the adjustments however you need to for your own game. So now that we have this volume and audio set, let's go ahead and test it out to see if it works in our game. Now you might not be able to hear it over the video, but I can hear it through my headphones, and actually it might pick up a little bit in the audio. So you can see that that's playing. Everything is working as it should. And then if we go to the enemy and let's just lose the game, it'll go to our game over screen, and then it's going to restart. Okay, so it restarts the music from the beginning if we lose the game or if we win the game. So now that we have that audio source, we're now at a point where we want to publish our game. We want to build this out so other people can play it. This is actually pretty easy to do. Let's go up to Edit, and we're going to go to, or excuse me, not Edit, but we're going to go to File, and then Build Settings. So in our build settings, we need to set the scene in which to build. So in this case, it's going to be your final scene. Let me go ahead and save this scene. Let me do File, Save Scene As, and this is 26, and we're going to do 26 underscore end. So we'll save that, and we'll do File, Build Settings. We have one in here that we don't want, but we want to go ahead and add a current, and then I'm going to uncheck that old one. Okay. If you left click on that one and hit delete, it will turn that off. Notice the index number for this level, it's set to 0. 0 is going to be the default level that always loads at the beginning. And then anytime that we use that application.load level, it will load the current level that you are playing. So in this case, 0. Now we need to choose the platform in which we want this to build to. So we're going to use just the easiest one, and it's going to be the PC, Macs, and Linux standalone. This is a great one for people to play. It'll have to do a little bit of an install on that. If you want to go into a web player, or if you want to use WebGL, you can do that as well. So we're going to use the PC and Mac. We're going to send it to a Windows platform, and we're going to use the 64-bit architecture on that, so 8664. And we don't have a development build. I think we're good with that. We're not going to run the script debugger. And then all we have to do now is go over to our player settings. You'll see that it has everything over here. You can input your company name. So for us, it's Pluralsight Digital Tutors. And then we have product name. You can actually just give this any name that you like. We can call this Bill. That's the collector bot's name. Don't ask me what that stands for because I don't even know. It just seems cool. We have the default icon. If you have any icons that you want this to show up as on a desktop, you would go ahead and set that here. A default cursor, if you have a separate cursor besides the mouse cursor. and then the hotspot, where that's going to start. And so now we are under the standalone settings right here. These are the general settings, and so you can adjust the resolution of your game. Here I'm going to just do this in the standalone, so I'm going to set it to default is full screen. Let's set it to the native resolution. If you want it to run in the background, you can choose that, but normally I don't. And then usually everything just stays as default for this. You could also add any overrides for your icons for the standalone edition. We're going to leave that alone. And then if you have the Pro, I believe the splash image is going to be available. I don't know if the free version is going to have this. I read somewhere that the free version does not, but you can add a splash image. So whenever your game starts, it'll bring up a splash image instead of the Unity image at the beginning. Okay, and then any other settings that you want to add to this. So these are basically going to be your render settings. So I'm using the forward rendering, color space is set to gamma, using Direct3D. We're using static batching, so that's going to take any static items and it's going to put those into a single draw call. And then your dynamic batching, again, that's going to help you reduce draw calls. Everything else looks pretty good. I'm going to leave everything just the way it is, and I'm going to go over here and hit build and run. So here you want to save where you want this to be located. So I'm going to put this right inside of our project files folder, and we're just going to call this my first game. Okay, and then we will hit save. It's going to compile all of our scripts. It's going to get everything together. So you can see it's saying building level 0 and scene 0. This may take just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and pause and then wait for that to finish. Alright, so that has finished up building, and now you're going to see our configuration box that will come up, and we want to set this to windowed mode, and I'm going to set this to 1280 by 720. Quality graphics on this are going to be set to fantastic, and then we're going to use the left monitor to display this. We have our inputs. As you can see, all of the inputs from the input manager are laid out here, and then now all we have to do is simply hit play. So here you can see that our game is playing. Give it just a moment for the graphics to update there, and there we go. So it's now able to be played by anyone. You can just give them that .exe option and file, and they can play that on their own PC. So let's go ahead and let's make sure that this restarts properly. Got our game music playing in the background. Game over. And then it restarts our game. So congratulations on creating your very first game. I hope you guys had fun, and I'll see you guys next time.